Hey everybody, Scott Spreitzer here from DocSports.com. Welcome to the report for Monday, September 10th. Free pick coming up in college football, an early value release coming up as we do every Sunday night, Monday morning. Boy, since we've been doing this all the way back to the 1990s. We'll have that coming up. Also wanted to mention, if you've yet to become a member over at DocSports.com, it's easy to do. You click on the link below the video, set yourself up for a free $60 account. Don't forget to do that. I think you'll be glad that you did. Listen, we pushed with the free play here on the Denver Broncos, falling just short of sweeping the weekend with our college and pro football plays Saturday and Sunday. In fact, the Denver Broncos push was the only thing that kept us from sweeping the NFL on Sunday with our premium plays and free play combined. Came that close, and the big 6-unit play was a winner with the Miami Dolphins. And so I head into Monday with one play in Monday Night Football, one premium play, and it's over at DocSports.com right now exclusively. Again, and that is a 4-unit knockout going on Monday night. Don't miss that. Nice start. We're 58%. The last 329 plays now in the NFL, and also now on a nice 17-5-1 run as we close last season and start this season in the NFL. We'll have all our plays up a little bit later in the week in the NFL, but again, don't forget that Monday Night Football play. Baseball was postponed on Sunday. We had the Cubs over the Nats. The game was not played. Our baseball for Monday available after 11:30 a.m. Eastern, 8:30 a.m. Pacific time. We'll get to our free pick in just a bit. Wanted to mention also that we will have our college football plays up later this week also. I've had a couple of people who are kind of new to the videos asking me, DM me on Twitter and asking when those are up. They'll be up a little bit later in the week. And we'll be talking college football line moves all week long. Going to start with tonight's early value play for this upcoming week of football action. Hey, man, the Cleveland Browns finally covered with the Sharps backing them. Doesn't happen often. But before we get too excited, they are a perfect 3-0 against the spread the last 2 years against these Pittsburgh Steelers. And in fact, now after tying on Sunday, they're a grand total of just 7 points away from winning all 3 games outright. The bothersome thing to me about Pittsburgh, more than the fact that they even tied in this game, is that Big Ben continues to struggle badly on the road. Roethlisberger has been having his troubles on the road over the last year or so. He was horrible yesterday. He threw 3 interceptions. He had a couple of fumbles. And these issues are really starting to add up as far as I'm concerned on the road when it comes to the Steelers overall. And it's kind of tough to take them as a legit Super Bowl contender if he's going to continue to struggle this badly away from home. Also shows you that the Cleveland Browns probably not ready yet to have that bust-out season when you get a +5 turnover ratio and you have to fight tooth and nail just to come back and get a tie. The Steelers, by the way, they're home in week 2. They're laying 5 already to Kansas City. They took apart the Chargers on Sunday. Real quick note about that, 9.5 yards per pass by Pat Mahomes, who passed with flying colors. And the Cleveland Browns, well, they're at New Orleans, and the Saints ought to be a little ornery. They're laying 8 in this one. They got picked apart by Ryan Fitzpatrick. We mentioned the other day on our Vegas Beat podcast, also on the Tuesday night podcast with Indian Cowboy, that, don't get caught up in Jameis Winston being out, Ryan Fitzpatrick being in. We mentioned we like Tampa Bay in that spot, especially when that line got up to 9.5 during the week, as high as 10 at some shops this weekend, and Tampa Bay just took them apart, winning that game 48-40. Hey, listen, I wanted to mention the stat of the week. I almost forgot, going back to the Cleveland Browns. I saw this on ESPN on Sunday. When you look at when they came back in the league, which was 1999, they've had 5 games since then, including Sundays, where they've benefited from a +5 turnover ratio or better. And guess what? They are 2-2-1, straight up, 2 wins, 2 losses, and a tie. How bad has Cleveland been? There's been 132 other games where teams have had a +5 or more turnover ratio in a game since 1999. And those teams on the positive side, the +5 or more, 130 wins, 2 losses. Cleveland, 2-2-1. Crazy stuff. Shows you how the struggle has been going on and on for the Cleveland Browns. Performance of the week, Aaron Rodgers, obviously, if you watched Sunday Night Football, just amazing what this guy did again. The legend continues to grow. We'll see how serious his knee injury is on Monday or Tuesday. But the fact that he was knocked out of the game in the first half, ends up going off the field on a cart from the sideline after being looked under the tent, And boy, just like the announcers were saying, like I thought, texting people back and forth, didn't look like he was going to make it back in the game. Comes back with the team getting knocked off handily by Chicago, leads his team to 21 fourth quarter points, ends up 20 for 30, 9.5 yards per pass, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Chicago goes from looking like world beaters and Khalil Mack leading a fantastic performance by Bear linebackers. They couldn't do anything when Aaron Rodgers got back in the game. So he's our player or performance of the week, Aaron Rodgers of the Packers. As far as what the books did, well, they took an absolute beating at the hands of the Baltimore Ravens. We mentioned the Sharps finally beat the public in that Cleveland Browns game. And the Bengals, by the way, they were a big move on Sunday. I was doing ESPN National Radio on Sunday morning. We were watching that line go from Indianapolis -2, 2.5 to Cincinnati -1 in some books before it settled down. Huge 3.5-point line movement during the morning hours leading up to kickoff, and then Cincinnati goes into Indy and wins 34-23. Mentioned Baltimore. Everybody had Baltimore in some fashion or another. Teasers, parlays, laying the points. Remember, they opened 3.5 offshore months ago. They got up to 8. And you saw what they did to these hapless Buffalo Bills. We, of course, liked the result. We had Baltimore in one of our plays. We also, as you know, took the Buffalo Bills under 6.5 wins over the summer months. All right, spread note of the week. I know everybody likes to talk about divisional games. Well, divisional underdogs, 4-0 against the spread on Sunday. Something to keep note of and see if it continues over the first few weeks of the season. All right, our first look, college football, free play in just a moment. But again, Monday Night Football, big 4-unit knockout going on Monday as we look to wrap up the Sunday, Monday. Well, not sweep because we pushed with Denver here, but at least we're looking to wrap it up with all wins, 0 losses in 1 push if we get the job done on Monday. Again, that play is available right now at DocSports.com, Monday Night Football, baseball after 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Let's get to we do these every Sunday night, by the way. Listen, it gets to this point of the baseball season. We normally have just 1 play anyway, and if we do on Monday morning, that's going to be a premium play after 11:30 Eastern, going to cap Major League Baseball as soon as I'm done with this video. But listen, first look, college football week 3, team 148, Wisconsin. They're laying 23 in Madison over Brigham Young. And the Badgers won each of their first 2 games by 31 points apiece. They failed to cover both games. They were mid-30-point range favorites. And they kind of looked lackadaisical in the first half against a really bad New Mexico State team. And they kind of let off the gas a couple of weeks ago in their week 1 game. They're not going to let off the gas in this particular game. And the line is, of course, more reasonable, 22.5, 23 in that range. And that Cougars win in week 1 over Arizona means absolutely nothing now. Arizona's an absolute mess. They get clocked by Houston after losing to BYU at home. This past weekend, BYU gets knocked off at home themselves by the California Golden Bears. And if you look at Brigham Young's numbers, only 287 total yards against Cal, 2.8 yards per carry. Mangum, their quarterback, goes just 22 for 41, only 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, and they lost the game to Cal. They'll now travel to Madison, and I think just that Y on that helmet, knowing that BYU is a traditional, somewhat power, although they've been down a little bit the last couple of years. I think Wisconsin takes this game serious from start to finish, thumps BYU, and that's our early value play. We made that power-rated line 25.5, and then that was before the season began, and then after watching what these teams did, it's up 0.5 point to 26, so a little bit of separation from the actual spread. We're going to lay the points with Wisconsin, our first pick for this upcoming week 3 in college football. All right, hey, if you like what you see, click on that thumbs up button. Be sure to subscribe. We really do appreciate those who take the minute, or the second, I guess, to do that. We're going to be back here Tuesday morning, 4 a.m. Eastern, 1 a.m. Pacific. Let's put Monday in the win column. I'm Scott Spreitzer, DocSports.com.